Thank you for tuning in to the only stations giving you double the information and inspiration, WDRB Media and WGIV, the soul of Charlotte. This is Kutumai Speaks, and I'm your host, Semanji. Check me out on my Instagram, Kutumai Speaks, Facebook. Email me at kutumaispeakswgiv@gmail.com. Let me call in. Let me know what you think about the show. Let everyone know that Kutumai Speaks is the hottest show in Charlotte addressing pertinent issues in our society. So today, what we'll be discussing is the misinformed, the miseducated, and the carefree, quote-unquote, so-called black resistance. And so, I've been doing a lot of thinking with the current events that's been going on lately, is the presidential election, things of that nature, and some things came to my mind. There's a term I like to use is called delusion. And when you define this word, we see our people being deluded to think that this election really mattered to us in the grand scheme of things. And I ask you people, how does it matter when for 400 years the way we've been treated? Today, we have not been equal for that amount of time. So you think that voting for, this presidential election was necessarily going to be our savior to give us the rights that we've always wanted for so long and don't have today? So right now, I'm just been thinking a lot, and, first of all, we're unidentified people. And we're fighting and blaming the wrong enemy. We failed to realize that we've been taught to inflict damage upon ourselves, and this is the problem. I wanted to discuss in detail this self-inflicted genocide and what we need to do about it. I'm tired and distressed to see my people day in and day out in these situations. And so I got a couple of terms for y'all today. Hate, number one. We've been nurtured and groomed to hate ourselves without realizing it. We assume costumes trying to re-identify ourselves with what is in society, disregarding the beauty of our natural features as well as our inner spirit. That right there is the hate. And the envy, we don't want to see one another excel, prevail, succeed. Our envy turns into jealousy and discord. This is one of the major two issues that we as black people face today. And, I got some solutions. I'm not just talking about it. I have some ideas what we can do about it moving forward. These two traits are inherent in us and has been for countless years. So how do we break the monotony? The cipher begins with ourselves, our youth, our villages. We have to be personified examples of love, unity, the spirit of a high standard for the generations that succeed us. Every moment and every day we have to tell our people, yo, I love you, no matter what. Tell our youth, you are beautiful. You can aspire to be a great figure. You are talented. Coming up, a lot of us didn't experience too much of that. So, let's try to change what's, been the quote-unquote, status quo or how we do things in our society, you know what I mean? How are we going to rebuild our society? What steps are we willing to take to do that? Somebody has to actually put in action, You know what I'm saying? I love you no matter what. And you know how that's going to make a child feel? That's on a whole nother level. A black child at that, in this white privileged society that we reside in. So we got to help each other ascend no matter what. We have to imbue ourselves with these qualities, to counter all opposition and protect our self-worth. That's how we got to play this game. This game, that what we going through, this cycle, has to stop. We got to find a way to stop it, So I asked y'all the question, how can there be a true black resistance when we resist ourselves, our loved ones, our people as a whole? We can't resist the enemy that don't care about hunger or death, right? We can't, his only concern is wealth. So we can't resist him that way. We have to strive for unity in the midst of all the adversity, or else we are lost. Quote unquote, today we give a shout out to Queen Nzinga of Angola, Africa. She led her empire to fight off the Portuguese colonialists for 40 years. Angola was never enslaved while Queen Nzinga had breath. So we tribute her fierce, determined will today, her resiliency and love for her people. This piece of our past, piece of our legacy, was inspired by Charlotte's own up-and-coming Freedom School, a school that contributes knowledge used to counter oppression and shattering the shackles of ignorance from the unconscious people. So Queen Nzinga, we remember you. Thank you for your contribution to leading your people in the relentless, resilient way of never giving up hope and fighting for what was yours. And, if we can follow her example, we'll be better off than we are today. But so if you're just tuning in, we're discussing black resistance and the definition of it. A lot of us formulate the thoughts that it means violence, rioting or protesting, this is a far cry from the true meaning. In the 60s and the 70s, we resisted the autocracy by any means necessary, whatever it took. Back then, the problem was mostly physical. Today, our problem is mental. We have to abandon the ways we're in, what we exhibit, and remedy this illness by any means necessary in order for us to truly have a chance at battling the oppression we experience. Black resistance means that we are proud to be, who God created us to be, but also that we resist oppression in all its forms and shapes by any color, even your own. And it can come in that form. So we have to be aware of these things. What we claim is black resistance, and actually, define ourselves first and foremost. Look within ourselves to find out who we are. We have to know ourselves first. So I don't want to, boggle y'all down, today. Thank you for tuning in and showing your loyal support. In the coming weeks, we're going to be speaking about some major topics and some solutions to things that we can do to, better the circumstances that we're in on a day-to-day basis. This is for the less fortunate. This is for those that think they are above, poverty. This is for everyone. This is for the middle class. Anyone that, wants a brother to speak to them and tell them, yo, I know how you feel. So I appreciate your support. The misinformed, the miseducated, and the carefree. That's what I'm targeting. That's what I'm targeting today, every day, all day, whatever it's gonna take. We trying to bring some self-elevation and solve some of these problems that's going on, these internal problems going on inside of our brothers and sisters in our society. You see what's going on, and that will be addressed. Everything will be addressed. So let me mellow y'all out with a little bit of jams, and think about what I said. And hopefully you tune back in.